Welcome to Nerd on Nerd with me, Ellie Kempster.
And me, Liam Underwood. And in this episode, we are joined by a very special guest, Kat Fyson.
That's me, hello.
Hello. And what are we talking about for Culture Swap that you suggested, Kat?
We are talking about the comic Kill or Be Killed.
Volume 1.
Volume 1.
But before we get to that, it's time for catching up with Ellie, Liam, and Kat. Also, it's International Women's Day on today when we're recording this. So I'd just like to say a few words about that.
Oh, God.
Before you say a few words,
Yeah.
I can't help but notice that you're saying International Women's Day,
Yeah.
the singular, which makes it sound like it's a day for one woman.
No, International Women's Day.
It's women's.
Women's.
Women. It's women's, as in like WOMANS.
That's not...
It's WOMENS.
Wait a second. I'm looking at the hashtag on Twitter to see. Oh, yeah, you're right. All right.
That's
It's
weird,
literally the hashtag you used like an hour ago, if that.
It's International Women's Day. The reason why is because there's only one woman in my life that I really care about, and it's someone that's on this episode.
Which one of us is it?
Well, call back to the last time, well, not the last time, the first time Kat guested when it was called The Third Wheel, and no one knew who The Third Wheel was.
And we still don't.
No.
There we go. See, but no, I just want to say on International Women's Day, I'm obviously surrounded by quite strong, powerful women, and it's a little bit emasculating.
Good, right. Thought that was going to be a positive thing.
No, I'm just saying I don't mind it, but I think others might.
I don't mind it. It's all right.
It's all right. Like today, okay, just as an example, today was really good because to celebrate, Kat cooked me a lovely dinner. We had stir fry. It was lovely, and I was present during the cooking process, but more in a entertainment sort of capacity.
I mean, that wasn't really celebrating International Women's Day. That was literally just me doing what I have to do every night, which is make dinner while you dance and sing around me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a weird element to it because, you could easily look at that as sort of some weird Liam is a fucked up man living in the mindscape of someone who's like, no, the woman has to cook. But then you add in the dancing and singing, and it takes on a whole new element where, I don't know, I think Liam might just be a big boy trapped in a man's body.
Yeah, because
not even a man's body.
It's not like
barely.
It's not like I'm sort of sat in my chair with a beer and just sort of barking orders at Kat and kind of expecting my dinner ready. I'm a part of the cooking process.
No, you're not a part of the cooking process. You're
an
a little airy fairy prancer.
Oh yeah, out of all the reindeers, Prancer is the one that I most fit into. Oh, that sounds wrong. Anyway,
Wow.
Jesus.
That's all I wanted to say about International Women's Day, basically. Also, big shout out to our female listeners, but the men are all right too.
Lovely.
Cool.
I like all the listeners. If we have any animals that listen, like pets maybe, I hope they enjoy this. Catching up with.
Oh my God.
Well, let's start with our very special guest, shall we?
Yeah, let's do that.
What have
Great.
you been up to since we last spoke to you, Kat, on
the podcast. Liv doesn't mean 10 minutes ago.
I mean, to be fair, I could tell you the basic things, the big change that has happened since the last time I guested on here.
Yeah, but we had that whole Introducing Ellie episode, so we've covered that.
No, I mean the big change with me.
Oh, right, yes, of course.
I have started my own business and I work for myself, and I now have to work from home with Liam every day. So that's fun.
Now, if you were guesting on another podcast, I'm sure they'd ask you in-depth questions about being a business owner and all the cool things that come with that.
Yeah, I'm not
some of the
expecting
negatives.
that. That's fine.
I'm more interested in what you and Liam working at home together does.
I thought you might be.
Yeah. Does it work, Kat?
Well, before Kat answers, I would like you, Ellie, to just kind of paint us a word picture of how you imagine a typical working day might go.
Okay, so you both wake up, you get ready, it's work time, you both go to your separate places, and you're like, cool, we're going to get down to it, we're going to start work. Maybe an hour in, I picture Liam bursting through the door to whatever room Kat's working in and saying, Kat, look at this! And just sort of either having his dick or his arse out, maybe with something smeared on it, like marmalade, which would be weird in that I can't picture you guys having marmalade as a very common thing. So
We
I think
don't.
that's
No,
how I picture
you're
it.
right. We don't have marmalade.
Yeah, so it would be weird, even weirder, if Liam ran in with marmalade smeared on him.
I think you were pretty close up until you went off on the whole marmalade thing.
Yeah, up
I did
until the
fixate
food
on the marmalade.
inclusion, you were pretty spot on.
Does Liam burst in and
Yes.
just get you to look at things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't do it quite so much as he used to, which I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but it definitely still happens.
I get bored.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
Can
Kat,
you give
what
me an example, Kat, of something that of an actual example of something Liam has burst in and asked you to do or look at or participate in?
He comes in and pulls down his pyjama trousers, because let's face it, he's wearing his pyjamas,
Yeah.
and he just swings his dick and says, "Look at this."
Yeah. No, sometimes I get you to gently place the
This
hand.
is getting far
This
too
is too
sexual.
much. I mean,
That
Oh,
was
okay.
too much.
it's true.
I might cut that bit out.
Don't worry about it.
I might beep it out because I want listeners to know there was something there.
Yeah, but
But that
it doesn't
would just
happen.
make it seem worse than it really
I
is.
know, and that's so funny.
I think the thing to remember, right, is Kat was really worried about working from home because she thought I would be a massive distraction, and actually, I'm not really, am I?
It depends, really. Like,
Do you remember the first week when you was always coming in and checking in on me?
yeah, and you nicknamed me the hall monitor.
Yeah.
I think
I'd
that's
be like
because I
trying to
didn't have
work.
enough stuff to do, because I just started working for myself, so I was obviously like trying to get clients and stuff.
I'd be like trying to work, and Kat would come in. She'd be like, "What are you up to? You working?" I'd be like, "Yeah." She'd be like, "Oh, all right."
Most of the time, you were not working.
Sometimes, but most of the time I was. Every now and again, you'd catch me not working.
Right.
Let's be fair. I've had to be busier lately, and I'm not a fan of it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, you're definitely busier now.
Yeah, but anyway,
Sometimes we can go a whole day almost without like interrupting each other.
yeah, it's rare.
Yeah.
But yeah. So why don't you just tell the listeners, because obviously me and Ellie know a little bit about your business and what it is that you do.
Oh, I don't know how interesting it's going to be to your
Well,
listeners.
just do it real quick then.
Okay, I do like I write the words for people's websites and I look after their social media.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah.
So like the thing about working for yourself and working from home, that I'm sure Liam you will understand, is the main thing I have realised is that sometimes I can go the whole day without brushing my teeth.
No, I always make a point of doing that
I don't
after
think you
I've had
do,
breakfast.
though. No.
Yeah, I do.
I don't think you do.
Okay.
You're not as bad as me. Like, I will be so busy that I will forget to do it and it will get to like 5 o'clock and I'll be like, oh, I should probably brush those.
So anyway.
That's just an insight to being a freelancer, that's all.
No, I like it, Kat. I like it. You're letting people know what they can expect if they are, going to take similar steps to what you've done.
Yeah.
You
Or
do
dental
like,
health.
You
It's all pyjamas, dicks, and brushing teeth.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Not
you
brushing
tend to get dressed more than I do. To be fair.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Yeah.
I
You
like
also.
this. It's almost like you've got a totally separate scale to life than I do.
What do
like,
you mean?
how often I'm dressed appropriately, how often basic hygiene happens.
Yeah. It's weird.
It is. That's not an insult either. That is genuinely. It's just a whole other world that
Yeah,
I'm not
exactly.
part of.
Yeah. The other thing is, Kat does tend to get up earlier than I do.
Oh, like, pretty much always.
Yeah.
Yeah, has it like... Because when I work from home, on days where I work not in the office, that is what that is,
Yeah.
it means I can stay in bed for like an extra 2 hours.
Yeah, no, I don't do that.
I do.
I used to have to get up at about 7:30 in the morning
Yeah.
to go to work. I now probably get up at like 8, 8:30.
That's
Whereas
weird to me.
I look at when my first meeting is and I go, I have to get up half an hour before that.
Of course.
But so,
At a
but the
push,
problem
sometimes
is,
it's less than half an hour.
yeah, the problem is now I sometimes have meetings that start at like 8 a.m. So I'm up at 7:30 some days,
Yeah.
and I don't like it.
Did you want a medal?
No, I wanted to emphasise how little I care for that life.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, I've got like... I'm 100% positive I've got one of those like sleep disorders where your entire scale of when you sleep is shifted.
Yeah, you do.
Because I cannot function in the mornings. I hate getting up early. It's the one thing about work that I would change. And I have a lot of other things about work that are bad, but that is the one thing I would change.
So would you rather like you start later but finish later?
Yep. I'm up till 1 a.m. anyway.
Yeah.
I'd be fine leaving work at like, even like 9, go in for
Nah,
11:30.
see, I'm the complete opposite. I think my mentality is if I get up earlier and I start work earlier, I can finish work earlier.
Nah, fuck that.
I get it. I just hate being up.
I don't mind it. Like, I think my optimum working time is probably between 10 and 3.
Yeah, that's fair.
Listeners, what's your optimum working time? And is it annoying hearing two people who work from home talk about things like optimum working time because they have some level of control over it?
Yeah, that's the thing. I probably have an optimum working time and I have no idea what it is because for me, I always get into work at the same time. So it just happens at some point in the day and I'm probably not ready for it and I don't really notice when I suddenly get better at working.
I know for me, I'm shit if I have to get up before 9:30. After 9:30, I'm fine, but any time before, forget it.
Oh, well, I mean, you're not a good example anyway because what happened the other day, you had to get up an hour early for a meeting and it ruined
it was
you.
that day I had to get up at 7:30 and I just it just
What
threw
was
the
it
whole
we
day
were going to
up.
do in the evening that you couldn't do?
Was it record?
Maybe?
Oh, I don't know. It doesn't matter.
There was definitely something, and you literally were like, I can't, I'm sorry, I can't do it tonight. And I was like, oh, why? And you were like, I had to be up an hour early.
I
And
needed a nap.
I was like, oh, yeah, but it ruined you, which is insane to me.
To be fair, I had a little nap tonight before we recorded.
You always nap. That's not surprising.
Good. What else have you been up to, Kat?
Like,
More in the last week or so.
getting ready for Canada.
Oh.
Oh.
I don't think I've spoken about that on the podcast yet, have I?
I mean, you must have, but maybe not.
We're going to Canada. Yay.
Yay! I haven't because I didn't want to rub it in our listeners' faces.
Oh, I don't mind about that because, literally the last time we went on holiday was in 2015 and lots of people go on holiday more often than that.
But
I go on holiday more often than that.
Some people go less often than that.
Yeah, but I don't care.
Okay.
I feel
Also, I
like
don't
I
believe
get to
Liam
go
saying I
enough.
don't want to rub it in people's face. That sounds like a lie.
That does
Yeah.
sound like a lie. At least I'm being honest in that I don't mind rubbing it in people's faces.
Fair enough. Yeah, but still, we're going skiing, and Kat's never skied before.
Nope.
Yeah, are you looking forward to it, Kat?
I'm mostly terrified, but I am also
It's-
a little bit excited, I guess.
Is skiing meant to be easier than snowboarding? I know that's probably a thing that skiers would take offence to, but at a beginner level.
And I think, right, because obviously at beginner level you learn on a more gentle gradient, and I think skiing is meant to be easier because especially if you get to a flat on a snowboard, it's a nightmare. Whereas with skis,
Yeah,
you've got
because
the
you've got
poles.
your feet. You can't move your feet individually on a snowboard.
Yeah, I
unless
feel
you're on
like with
cliff.
skiing you probably have more control, which in theory would make it easier than snowboarding. But I wonder whether, how much difference there is in the learning curve for either of them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know snowboarding is
enough.
meant to be quite hard on your knees and wrists.
Is that because you fall over a lot?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And
that's
because
not
you're
fun.
obviously stuck to like a plank of wood, you when you fall, you know, there's only so many ways you can go. Whereas with skiing, you can kind of roll a bit easier.
Well, yeah, it's a control thing, isn't it? With skis,
Yeah.
you've got more control, when you fall.
And to be fair, I did say you've never skied before, which is a slight lie. You've sort of skied before.
Well, we went to the snow centre and I did a group lesson, but actual skiing time was probably less than 5 minutes in the 2-hour lesson.
Yeah.
That is not a lot of time.
No, but I'm doing a couple of lessons out there, so that's not so bad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it will end up being awesome and stuff.
Oh, that was convincing.
Awesome and fun. Have you snowboarded or skied?
I've never snowboarded or skied. I have mountain boarded.
Right.
I
which
don't know
is-
what that is.
It's sort of like a mixture of snowboarding and skateboarding,
Down a mountain.
where you go down a mountain without snow, and it's like a skateboard with really thick off-road tires.
Okay, yeah, I think I've seen them before.
I didn't get off the beginner slope because they said to us at one point, they went, "Oh yeah, you guys are ready now. If you want to move on to the better slope, you can." And I went, "You've seen me do this, right? I'm staying on the beginner slope," and stayed on it for the rest of the day.
Fair enough.
And then one of my friends, the friend whose party it was sort of trying to convince me to go on there. And I was like, "Look, mate, honestly, I'm happy here. You guys go have fun. It's cool. I'm enjoying this. I don't think I'll be okay on there." About half an hour later, he went down the mountain too fast and broke his wrist. So I was like, well,
What
definitely
idiot.
not going on it now.
Who was that? Put him on blast.
Oh, no, I've not spoken to him in years. I don't particularly want to name and shame someone that I don't know anymore.
Oh, fair enough. I'm going to put Kat on blast briefly now.
Oh, brilliant.
I've just remembered that you didn't go out and get me apple slices, and now my fruit tonight is not going to be very good.
International Women's Day.
Yeah.
Yay.
Whee! I love women.
Yeah, all right. But anyway, that's pretty much all the catching up with me because there's not a lot going on in my life. Oh, there was one other thing.
Go on.
That happened when our cleaner came the other day.
Oh, this is amazing.
So we've mentioned before, right, that we have a cleaner. Like, this is
Oh,
just
ages ago.
super middle class.
Yeah, just to clarify to our listeners, right, we're not like some rich posho. We are like you. We just get a cleaner in because, we can.
I feel like I wouldn't blame our listeners if they judged us a bit because we both work from home and yet we get a cleaner to clean up our house. Even though
we're in the house more, so obviously we're making more mess. So if anything,
No, Liam, stop trying to defend yourself. You do need to accept that this is...
It is lazy.
Yeah.
I agree it is lazy, but also, like, I've got used to it now, so...
Oh, yeah, no, if I had a cleaner and got used to it, I definitely would end up just accepting and doing it, but... I just want Liam to remember, because I feel like Kat's got it down. Kat's like, I know that this is lazy. And I know that Liam lies to himself a lot to convince himself that the things he does are normal.
Yeah.
So Liam, just bear in mind that it is laziness. Okay.
Anyway.
So what happened, Kat?
So we had a new cleaner starting because we'd had a couple of other cleaners with this new agency and we didn't like them. So
They've just not been up to scratch. The last agency fucked us right over.
Yeah, the last one. Really
if you want to talk about
over.
first world problems.
Yeah, I mean, what is it that these cleaners are doing that's getting you guys so annoyed that you have to get a new cleaner?
A
They're
shit
not cleaners.
job.
Is it like they leave a bit of dust on something and you two are like,
No,
Yeah.
they just no, they just didn't. They just didn't do a good enough job.
Look,
oh
Ellie,
God, you two
Ellie.
are so middle class.
Ellie, when you pay for someone to come and clean your house, right, you expect your house to be cleaned at the end of it.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you know me, I wouldn't. They'd come in, they'd do no work, and I'd be like, it's fine.
Here's the last one, right? Here's why they had to go. You know how next to the TV I've got like my PlayStation VR and stuff all to one side?
This wasn't the
Yeah.
only reason, but
It was a big one. Then we've got like an extension cable with like an extension plug socket thing where we have our laptop plugs and stuff in. They just picked up the extension cable and a load of wires and just dumped it all on top of my like really expensive VR stuff. Just a complete lack of respect.
So, like I said, that's not
And
the only reason.
it also didn't look very clean and tidy.
Yeah, there was
Okay.
also that. And what a big problem we had before was that the cleaners would just leave early. And
Yeah, this was with the last agency.
yeah, they'd leave early. The house wouldn't been cleaned properly, and we were both too socially awkward to be like, "Hang on a minute, why are you leaving early?"
Yeah.
So we had this new cleaner come, and I was showing her around the house because Liam was on a conference call. And we get to where our bedroom is, and literally our bedroom...
Where the magic happens.
Wow, okay. Our bedroom literally just has the bed in it. And at the moment in time, and currently, our bedroom duvet cover is a Marvel comic, like duvet, right?
It's really cool.
It is pretty cool. It's all black and white, and it just, it's cool.
Remind me, and when this episode goes up, I can take a picture and I can tweet it so people can see.
Okay.
I won't, but okay.
Anyway, she says to me, "Is this your son's bedroom?"
We don't have a son.
No. And the only thing I could think of to respond was, "No, we just kind of refuse to grow up." And it just it was a bit awkward after that.
Which segues nicely into the podcast that me and Kat used to do called Won't Grow Up, that
but
is
we're not-
currently on a slight hiatus.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're not talking about that now.
Well, no, we're trying to figure out like what we're doing next with it, because I've lost all my video equipment because my job changed. So we're thinking of doing like an audio one, but we need to look into it. Amanda's tried to help us a bit, and I don't know if Kat's really done much with that information that Amanda provided.
Not yet.
It's all right, Kat. You don't need to defend yourself. Liam
Thank
shouldn't
you.
use the podcast as a platform
No.
to abuse people, even though he does. But just don't feel like you have to defend yourself here.
Yeah, this is a safe space.
It is not a safe space
It's
when you're
definitely
here.
not a safe
But I will try. I'm trying to make it a safer space than it would be if this was just a podcast by Liam.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well,
Anyway.
you women stick together, don't you?
Sure.
Jesus.
Anyway, that's all the catching up from me.
Fair enough. That's fair. Liam,
Yeah.
what have you been up to?
Oh, honestly, Jesus Christ, it has been a week. So
Go on.
I went into the office last week. Well, I had to go back home because my car needed MOTing, and
Okay.
I think because my mum just likes an excuse to see me, she kind of insists that my car gets MOT'd near where she lives because she likes the garage there and stuff.
Okay, super quickly before you move on from this.
Yeah,
Why does your mum have a say in where you get your car MOT'd?
because
Yeah,
she likes
Liam.
to see me.
No. I didn't say why. What's the reason that she wants you to go there? Which
Yeah.
makes sense that she
Yeah,
wants to see you.
yeah.
Why does she have a say in where you do it?
Because I don't know car stuff.
Yeah, but we've got like several MOT centres literally right around our corner.
Yes, but right, imagine it would break her little heart if I was like, I'm not coming back to MOT in my car, I'm going to do it around the corner.
The funny thing is that it's probably a lot cheaper, even if you just take out like the petrol price of driving all the way home. It's probably a lot cheaper at the MOT places around here than it is at the one that you go to.
Probably, but it makes my mum happy, and it's International Women's Day, and we've also got Mother's Day coming up, so
it's all about making
that's why you get your car MOT'd every year with your mum. Sure, okay.
Yeah. So anyway, so I went back to do that, and then also because like it halves the distance into the office, I was also going into the office that day. But that was when we had a load of bad weather in the UK. Do you remember?
Very snowy.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing about the UK that our international listeners might not kind of realise. We can handle the cold, we can handle the rain, we can sort of handle the sun. We'll moan about each one of those things to varying degrees, but life continues unless it snows.
Shit goes
if it
down
snows, the country grinds to a halt. So
I mean, to be fair, it doesn't, as proven by me and the intrepid people who managed to get to work every day last week in the snow.
Yeah,
but
don't worry about it.
I get what you're saying. The country, the infrastructure of the country shuts down.
Yeah. And it's fascinating, right? Because you look at Canada, who gets a lot of snow, and they've found a way to carry on. But what I like
they're
is
equipped for it because they're used to having it, and we're not.
Yeah, and then I like looking at California, right, where they're used to just sun all the time, and they react to rain the same way we react to snow. Like their country just shuts down. Like people don't know how to drive in rain and stuff because they're not used to it, and it makes me want to go to California so bad. But anyway, so I went into the office. There was no one in there. It was an absolute waste of time. Whatever. Came back, the next day we came home, and because it had been so cold, and because neither of us had been in the house, our pipes had frozen. We came home to no water.
Oh, fair enough.
Do you know what that means?
Go on.
1, none of the taps or faucets, for our American listeners, none of those worked.
Yeah, right, sorry. When you asked me, do I know what that means, I did assume you meant, like, something more than the obvious.
Yeah.
Like, if your pipes are frozen, obviously you don't have water. If you don't have water, Liam, then obviously you don't have fucking water.
Yeah. No showers.
Oh, right, another water-based thing. Got you.
Yeah.
Wow, insane.
No baths.
Oh, my goodness.
Also, no toilet flushing.
Yep. Oh, good. Another water thing. Weird. Right. I did know all those things, Liam. Sorry.
Okay.
Next time you ask that, I'll know that you're saying, do you know obvious things? And I'll say yes.
Okay, let me just explain what the problem is, because I feel like there's an oversight going on here. Before we realised about this water problem, on our way home, we got a McDonald's drive-thru, and then we returned home, and I ate it before I realised that we didn't have water.
Yeah. So I get it, Liam. I get what you did. I see where this is going.
Where's it going?
That you did a poo or a wee, probably a poo.
No, I held it.
Why did you hold it?
Because I couldn't flush, so I had to hold it.
So how long did you hold it for, Liam?
Until the next day. I woke up that night at like 4 a.m. just with my stomach hurting. I couldn't get back to sleep.
You're a fucking idiot.
And then we tried. We got like loads of bottles of water, and we tried to see if that would help. It didn't, did it really, with the whole toilet situation? But so the next day, we got onto our water company, and they sent a little bloke out. And I'll let Kat take over the story here because she was very present.
Very present. Okay. Well, I'm not going to go into the whole like we asked the landlord to send someone over and blah 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 because that bit's boring.
Yeah, just get to the good bit.
Yeah, so the local water company send this engineer who comes along with this like glorified hairdryer, and he's just stood outside because we've got like our meter box is outside, which is what the problem was because the pipe going into the box was what had frozen. Yeah. And this guy was stood out there for like a good 15 minutes, just like
in the snow,
using this hairdryer thing. And I didn't think it was going to like do anything. And so he got to this point where he took off like the meter cap thing and started blowing the hairdryer thing down that. And then a couple of minutes later, like convenient, like I wasn't out there the whole time. I was sort of poking my head in and out. But
really
conveniently, I picked the right moment that the water suddenly just came bursting out of the pipe and went all over him. And instead of feeling like, oh my God, are you okay? I literally laughed my head off.
In his face.
Yeah, I mean, that is hilarious.
And I laughed my head off.
But here's the thing, right? So this poor guy, who's currently hair drying our pipe in the freezing snow, and it was really windy and cold.
Yeah, it was.
Is now covered in cold water as well.
And it was so funny.
So the correct thing to do is you laugh and you invite him in for a coffee and to dry off.
I just did the first bit.
Yeah, I
Literally
had a
just did
feeling
the
that you
first
guys
bit.
didn't invite him in.
I wasn't there for this bit. I missed it.
It wasn't just like a short laugh either. Like, it was a long, hearty laugh.
Like a mean laugh.
Oh,
Like,
I wouldn't
too
say
long.
It was mean. It might have been mean,
I
but
feel like it might have been mean, Cat.
yeah, I think it might have been mean. But
I don't
did
think he would have
say-
found it funny.
I did say I'm sorry, I'm laughing, but then I
But you didn't
laughed
offer
more.
him like a coffee or tea or anything.
No, I kind of forget about those sorts of things. And also, I was like, because we were also expecting a plumber to come, I had to ring the landlord to say that we didn't need the plumber anymore. So, you know, I had to get rid of the guy. Do you know what I mean?
Fair enough. I mean, that is hilarious.
It was hilarious. I wish you could have seen it. It was amazing.
I would have enjoyed seeing it.
Yeah.
I would very quickly, and I don't want you to feel like I'm picking on you, Liam, because you know I love you, buddy. You have multiple toilets in your house,
Yeah.
and your stomach was hurting, which is a bad. Usually, I don't know if you know this, Liam, but pain is your body's way of saying to you something's wrong.
Yeah, I needed a McDonald's poop.
Yeah. So what I would have done is
Yeah.
I'd have gone fuck it and just shat in one of the toilets.
Nah, I was a good boy. I held off. and
No,
then-
oh sorry, no. That doesn't make you a good boy, Liam. Making
does.
yourself ill is not good.
No, because then he fixed the water and then I did a massive one and flushed it away.
I bet that was satisfying too.
It was. Oh, it was so good. Anyway, so yeah, that happened.
Yep.
We had the Oscars. Didn't
Yeah,
watch
I
it.
don't
People
feel
won
like
things,
that's
it was all
catching
very
up with
good.
you, is it?
I don't care. I didn't watch it. If I'd have watched it, it would have been. I didn't.
I thought you always watched the Oscars.
Yeah, but I had to get up early the next day and it's really late. Do you know what? It's starting to annoy me a little bit that all this stuff that I want to watch, like the Oscars, like Super Bowl and all that sort of stuff, I essentially have to like take the next day off to be able to watch them. Can't they just show it a bit earlier?
No,
Okay.
Yeah, it's not really for
obviously
us.
not.
Well, it should be for everyone, right?
No, none of them have ever specified that. The Super Bowl that plays the American national anthem at the beginning aren't doing it for England.
Well, they should.
No, they shouldn't. It's fine.
It's just frustrating. It makes me want to move to America, but then equally I don't want to get shot or, have Trump as president.
What
Yeah,
I feel
no,
like they
exactly.
should
Don't go
do
for
with the Oscars, because the Oscars is more for like everybody, is
Yeah.
that they should have a showing of it on the TV the next day. Because
Yeah.
this is the issue that I have with it, is that they don't actually show it at all. So if you don't watch it live, like at the time through like a stream,
No, I think
just-
doesn't the BBC or something show it like live, but it'll be late at night.
I don't think so. And if they do, why is it on late at night? That kind of defeats
Oh,
the
actually, no,
object.
you're right. I remember the last time I tried to watch it and I had to do like an annoying stream to watch it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like just show it the next day at like I'm not saying prime time because that's when all the shitty soaps are on, but like from 8 o'clock or something.
Or even in the
Yeah, no,
morning.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
Just
maybe.
show it in the morning or something. Yeah, it's just still. The film that I wanted to win Best Picture won. That's why I wanted to mention it. It was The Shape of Water. I enjoyed that film. I'm pleased it won.
So
The other thing that we've been doing, besides like we've watched a bunch of movies and TV shows, and I've done some book reading. We'll get to that. But we've started watching this new show called Parenthood. It's so good, isn't it?
it is good. Yeah, I was surprised
so
that I
good.
was going to enjoy it. Like from what it's called and what I thought it would be about, I was like, this is going to be shit. But it is actually really good.
Like, so bear in mind, right, we're talking about Kat Fyson here, who spent the first season of the Gilmore Girls, every time I put it on, she'd roll her eyes and she'd sigh and she'd tut and she'd be like, people don't speak like that. Lorelai's a
don't.
terrible mother. And then it took her like a whole season to warm to the show and get into it. Parenthood, episode 1, she was hooked.
Well, yeah, because
What
it's
is it?
not everybody talking at a million miles an hour to each other.
So it has Lauren Graham in it, which is why I wanted to watch it. She's Lorelai in Gilmore Girls. But it's basically, it is about, you've got 4 siblings and they all have kids of like different ages and then also their 2 parents, and it's just about like this family's life. So the kind of like the main like storyline throughout season 1 so far, and like the first episode deals with this, is the oldest brother, his child is being tested to see if he's on the autism spectrum.
Okay.
And that's like, because I was expecting the show to be more like Modern Family, quite a light-hearted comedy.
Yeah, it's
But
not.
it's a bit more emotion. But it's so good. It's really, really, really good.
It's not like totes emotion, but there are moments of it because Can I say about what the outcome of the kid's diagnosis
Yeah, because
is?
it's revealed in like the first episode, so I don't think it's a huge spoiler.
Yeah, like basically they find out that he's got Asperger's, and it's just like that. It's kind of like dotted into the other episodes, them dealing with it, and it's I don't know, it's just really well done.
Yeah, and there's like, you know me, I'm like quite a manly man, you know, quite tough and hard and stuff. But there's been a few moments where, like, you know, I felt the old eyes start to go, and I was like, nah, you got to be strong here.
Wow,
You're such a hero.
Yeah, I try. What have you been up to, Eddie?
Nothing.
Oh, by the way,
36
just
hours
before,
straight
don't worry
at work.
about that. Before we get to that,
did you just shush Ellie
Yeah.
on International Women's Day?
Yeah.
This is important. I will be reviewing season 1 of Parenthood once we've finished it. So, as you were.
I didn't actually hear that because I was shushing.
It wasn't important, Kat.
Okay,
it was
cool.
a redundant comment that literally means nothing
Sweet.
and that no one was interested in.
The huge.
Yeah.
This is bullying on International Women's Day. Of all the days.
I worked for 36 hours at work, and that's everything I can remember because that feels like forever.
Why did you do that?
I had to get a graphic out for today, and
Did it go
there were some
out
last
today?
minute changes. What?
Did it go out today?
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, that's why. I did 36 hours to get it done. I ended up working so Tuesday night, stayed at the office, and then left late Wednesday, sort of about 9ish, I think.
I spoke to friend of the show, guest Dan Palmer today, and he said that you weren't at the thing that you guys do on Wednesday nights. He said that you were very lazy for not showing up for that.
Yeah, no, I texted everyone and said, I've just done 36 hours. I'm not going to come down.
Yeah, lazy.
I literally that was before I stayed late as well. I was just like, oh, I'm not going to make it because I'm going to be probably going home and going to sleep. I wouldn't have been able to get there anyway because I'd left work at 9.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was, I think, that's not an interesting thing, right? Working late, doing long hours, whatever. I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
The thing that I think is interesting is I've now done it a few times.
Yeah.
And with my record being 42, no, longer because I would have stayed.
Good.
Yeah, the fact
No,
you
no,
have
it's
a
not.
record is not good.
Yeah, that I'm aware of. It's amazing. I'm sort of fascinated by sleep. Sleep is interesting to me. Not so much the doing it, but the what happens to you if you don't. And
So you're testing the
whenever
boundaries, really.
Yeah, but I honestly find it fascinating. Like, it is amazing to get that tired and see what your brain does to you, because you don't hallucinate. You can, if you do it for too long, but you do start to, like, see shit out the corner of your eye. So for about maybe 4 hours Tuesday night, very early in the morning, I was in an empty office with no one in it, and I'd occasionally walk to the toilet, and as I was walking around, I'd think I was seeing people walking in the distance of the office and sort of suddenly turn and be like, nope, no one is here. And that is terrifying.
That's weird.
It is. Like, at one point there was a balloon in a very dark corridor. I don't know why there was a balloon in there. But
Pennywise.
as I saw it, I honestly was like, that is a person's face, but it's very tall. And then had a little freak out and then was like, no, it's a fucking balloon.
So when you, because like you said, you've done this a few times now. Every time you say to me, oh, I've had to work like all these hours, I always, like, my instant reaction is just, is that your fault or is it someone else's fault?
Yeah, it's sort of depressing that that's always your reaction, because I know it's yours and Dan's reaction. And the last 3 times I think you've both said to me, is it your fault? And the last 3 times I've turned around and gone, no, it definitely used to be, but these last few times haven't been. And for some reason, you guys just refuse to believe that.
No, I believe it, but what I'm saying is you need to kind of stop that. Like, you need to kind of speak to your superiors and get sort of things put in place to help stop that.
Yeah, no, that's obvious, Liam. Unfortunately,
why haven't you?
I don't have the luxury of working for myself or working at home. I work for a newspaper.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know this, Liam, but news just sort of happens. So this thing definitely could have been planned for.
Yeah, that's what I'm
and
saying.
was. But then things change last minute. That's
Equally,
fine, I can accept
why
that.
can't you just go, look, these are my hours that I work. If it isn't done, it's not done.
Because that's not how the working world works. Again, Liam, just to remind you, other people in the world don't have the same job as you, a job that you have some sort of weird immunity to all the negative stuff that happens to everyone else you work with.
Yeah.
I don't have that. So if I turn around and say to people, no, we can't do that, what happens to me is I then become a not important member of the team in an industry that is facing huge cuts, and most newspapers are pretty much constantly making people redundant.
Yeah.
So if you don't do the work, Liam,
I'm not
you
buying
get dropped.
that because, well, yeah, like newspapers are making people redundant. That's because print media is dead, but you're on the digital side, which is where it's where it's all being funneled into. So
okay, cool. Let me just explain to you how I will give you this is genuinely an example of a meeting we had at work, right?
Okay.
So here we go. It goes like this. They go,
are we role playing?
I know you guys have noticed, but a lot of people are being made redundant, and we go, yeah, that's it's kind of shitty. And they go, you're pretty safe. Don't worry, guys. You're all right. You're doing digital, and the world is now. We used to be 80% paper, 20% digital. We're switching that. We're now 80% digital, 20% paper.
Yeah.
Now let me give you an example of what happens after that meeting, Liam. And let me just very quickly point out that meeting is not a meeting from this year. That meeting is a meeting from 3 years ago where we were first told it, and have been consistently told it every year since. What happens is no one does anything because the way companies work is they sort of just go, we're going digital, we don't know what that means, so we're not going to change anything.
Yeah, they don't. So that industry does
I work in a 3-man team, Liam, of developers. We are the only developers who work on graphics for the website.
So it's a 3-man team, and 80% of the work is coming to those 3 men. So that must mean that the whole company in total is, 4 people?
What?
Yeah, I've seen pictures of where Ellie works, and there's definitely a lot more than 4 people that work there.
So why aren't they readjusting your team to account for the 80% of work?
Oh, Liam, let me just fire off an email to the CEO of my newspaper company.
Yeah, okay.
My mum isn't best friends with all the top end people at my company.
That is a shame. That would have made your life a lot easier.
because I feel like that does give you some level of advantage over what I have, which is I don't know what the fuck is going on at any given time.
That is true.
But just bear that in mind. I'm not bullshitting you to make it seem hard.
No.
I work in a 3-man team at a paper where they're supposed to be going digital but are not.
But Ellie, I think you're missing, because I'm trying to be very helpful here, right? What I'm saying is, having to work 36 plus hours isn't good for you and isn't healthy.
No, I'm aware.
You need to make your bosses aware so they
are aware. Because I tell them every time I do it that this can't happen.
So why don't they fix it?
Because sometimes you can't fix stuff, Liam, when there's... So, again, some stuff that have been projects that I've had to stay overnight for because they are literally a new story that has happened that we have to make a graphic for. Those ones can't go away, right?
Yeah.
There's also stuff like what happened with this one where we're building a graphic and then suddenly that graphic becomes the flagship piece for the entire company's International Women's Day thing, which is what happened to this one about a week before it went live. Right. So suddenly this graphic went from, this is the easiest graphic that we will be able to just bust out, to this is the flagship, it needs to be perfect and everything needs to look fancy as shit.
Okay.
So it's not my fault, it's kind of the company's fault, but it's not my boss's fault, and they are aware of how bad it is, because they are trying to fix it but can't.
Kat, what advice would you give?
I don't need advice.
I don't feel like there's advice I could give, but the question that comes into my head is there actually anyone that's measuring how effective that work is?
Yeah, there are people that are doing that.
Okay.
And that goes to, my bosses, and then my boss's boss deal with whether something is... it's better than it used to be. I haven't had to work as many all-nighters as I used to.
Hooray!
But equally, that is probably because you've got better at working when you're...
No, it's because they figured out how this shit works. I mean, I have gotten better, but it's now down to someone being like, oh yeah, no, we're not going to say yes to every project that anyone wants to be digital because we do not have the manpower for it.
Whew, that was a long catching up with.
It was, yeah.
Wow. I mean, I feel like you can only really blame me because I'm the difference here.
Exactly.
Well, no, I'm just going to blame Liam. I feel like it's probably Liam's fault.
We account that our episodes with guests are going to be longer because, you're adding a whole person to the mix.
I feel like I probably told the shortest catching up with there. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, no, it's Liam's fault.
Yeah.
Still adds up. Right, guess what happened?
What happened?
You went to the cinema.
Did the whole thing.
Liam's been to the cinema. Here's the spoiler-free reviews of the things that he saw at the cinema.
I think that might now be my favourite part of the show, is having you say that bit.
Yep. Moving on. It's time for everyone's favourite part of the show.
I saw. I'm trying to remember who's doing what for the films. So
okay. Right.
Just so our listeners are aware, we have 3 films to cover off. Should we just do one each?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to talk about Lady Bird now.
Okay. I've been seeing this around, and I kind of want to see it.
Okay. It was up for a load of Oscars, but it didn't win any of them.
Okay.
It's got Greta Gerwig. She directed it, and she was up for directing Oscar. She's the 5th female to ever be nominated for that.
That is a depressing stat, but okay.
Yeah, no, incredibly depressing. But also, right, this is where it's interesting. Greta Gerwig made her name in Mumblecore.
Is that interesting?
You said this is where it gets interesting.
Yeah, no, that's interesting.
I don't know if anyone, including Mumblecore directors, have used the words mumblecore and interesting in the same sentence.
It's interesting because you're all like, oh, mumblecore shit. And I'm like, yeah, but one day that girl is going to be nominated for an Oscar. So, boom.
Yeah, just very quickly, is Lady Bird a mumblecore film?
Nah.
Okay, no, so the mumblecore has nothing to do with it. Cool.
Yeah.
Move on.
But what I'm saying is, right, so...
No, let's not break down why Liam thinks mumblecore's great. We've got enough episodes.
Yeah, no, I know. All right, here's what I'm saying. I'm a big fan of Greta Gerwig, okay? I've seen her in Lull. I've seen her in Hannah Takes the Stairs, Yeast, Nights and Weekends, Baghead, You Won't Miss Me.
All right, there's no need to brag.
No, I'm just saying, they're all mumblecore films.
I don't even know what his point is.
No,
Right,
like, I've
they're
not
all
seen any of these
mumblecore
films.
films. And then she was in a load of indie stuff. She was in Greenberg, Damsels in
Why
Distress,
are you doing
Frances
this?
Ha, Maggie's Plan,
just make
Jackie.
your point.
What I'm saying is, she's been in a load of stuff, and I'm a big fan of hers. So here's the point that I'm trying to make.
Okay.
It was disappointing, being such a fan of hers, to find Lady Bird just average. And I should be I should be naturally biased to this movie, because not only do you have the Greta Gerwig factor, it's also coming of age. This should be right up Liam's street, and it was just like super average.
Yeah, not. Do you think other people would enjoy it?
Yeah, I know for a fact that this was, I think, Amanda's favourite film of last year. Like, I don't want to speak for her, but I'm pretty sure I've heard her say that.
Okay.
I think I'm quoting her. Now, I'm not sure, right? And this is something that we can pick apart a little bit on International Women's Day, because in the last 2 years, we've had Lady Bird, and we had another female-led coming-of-age movie called The Edge of 17. And as someone who loves coming-of-age movies, both of those left me kind of lukewarm, and I know for a fact that both of those Amanda really liked. So I don't know if just maybe I'm just struggling with the female-led coming-of-age for some reason. I don't know.
I mean, we've had this argument before, so I'm reluctant to have it again. I think if listeners want to hear more about mine and your opinions on this, you can go listen to Black Panther, where we discuss the idea of like not getting a type of film because it's got X, representation in it. I think we've also covered it on other ones.
Probably.
So, go listen to them if you want our thoughts. Kat, have you got anything you'd like to interject into...
Kat watched Lady Bird with me.
I did, and I thought it was mostly boring. And like Liam said, it was pretty average. The only thing... I liked the performances in it.
Yeah, you've got Saoirse Ronan.
Yeah, and Laurie Metcalf. And is that how you pronounce her surname?
I think so.
But I really like her. She plays Sheldon's mum in Big Bang Theory, but she's been in loads of stuff.
She's also, in Scream 2. She's in Scream 2, because I watched that recently, and you pointed it out, and I didn't even realise.
Yep. I know.
That was exciting. Lucas Hedges is in Lady Bird as well, and he's really good.
Who was he?
He was her first boyfriend.
Oh, okay. The funny thing is I don't remember, which kind of says everything that I need to say.
And also, you've got Timothy Chalamet, I think his name is, who was making a name for himself in this like award circuit with Call Me By Your Name, but he was also in Lady Bird.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it was just so average, right?
Yeah, and I don't remember thinking all that much about The Edge of 17 either.
No, so maybe it's not just me. Maybe these films are just average.
Yeah.
Or no. So here's the thing, Liam. You're jumping between two extremes. One extreme being that an entire genre cannot be good because you didn't like two films, which is, as someone who likes mumblecore, not exactly the greatest fucking stance to take, right? The other, and then you're jumping to, so maybe it's not just me, this film is just an average movie. Or is it possible, Liam, that you just didn't like this movie, and that this movie is good for some people, bad for some people,
it's not that I didn't
and you
like
just don't
it.
like it?
No, it's not that I didn't like it.
Sorry, you hate when I say you don't like it. Fucking hell. Average. Jesus Christ, Liam.
I just really wish...
But no, actually, no, fuck this. You didn't like it, because if you liked it wouldn't be average.
No, it was fine. I just wish I'd liked it more.
Yeah. That's not what someone who liked something says. I like ice cream. I find generic meals average. I don't like them. They're average.
No, but it's... Okay, I like you, but that's basically just tolerance.
Yeah.
So
that means you don't like me, Liam, is what I'm saying.
No, it's the same with Lady Bird. I liked it / tolerated it.
I just found it boring.
Like, I wasn't that bad. I wouldn't say I found it boring.
Well, there were bits of it I found really boring.
Yeah.
But bits of it I liked, so overall it was average.
What would you give it out of 5?
I don't know, 2.5, maybe?
See, I'd give it 3 out of 5.
So, fair enough. I'm probably going to maybe see it at some point soon. So
to be honest,
maybe I'll throw in my ratings as well.
I would recommend, like, this maybe isn't a cinema trip. Maybe wait for it to come on, like, Netflix or something like that.
I wouldn't even buy it. I'd wait till it was on Netflix or other streaming services are available.
Amazon Prime.
We don't need to list them.
So that was my film review.
This episode's a little bit listy for you, Liam. What's going on, buddy?
Is everything
What do you mean?
okay?
So yeah, I don't know. I feel like every time you start talking, you start listing things. It's
My
weird.
life is just spiraling out of control, and lists help me regain that control.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Right, who wants to go next?
Ellie, you can go next.
Okay. I went to the cinema and I saw Game Night.
We've also seen
We
Game Night.
have.
I know. Before I talk about Game Night itself, I'd like to say that I went to go and see Shape of Water in the brand new cinema that's opened in Sutton, which is it's gone from a shithole cinema to a really nice cinema that looks like it should be up in London.
What type of cinema is it?
It's Empire,
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
and they've just redone it. It's got massive screens everywhere showing stuff. They've like overhauled the whole place, putting sofas into the screens and stuff. It's really nice.
What chain did
But-
it used to be? It used to be a different...
It's still Empire.
Oh.
It's still Oh, before that it used to be View.
This isn't important.
Okay.
View?
Sorry.
It's not important, but yeah,
I
sorry.
vaguely remember which one you mean. So.
Yeah, it did used to be a different one. But yeah, so anyway, we went to go and see Shape of Water because they still had a few showings.
Yeah.
But we think they were showing it in the smaller screens because when we got there, the lady said there are only 2 seats left. One is by itself and the other one is half of a sofa, which means that someone had bought a single ticket and gone, I don't want to sit on the chair. I want to share a sofa with a stranger.
That's
Which
weird.
was mind-blowing to us.
So you went for the sofa, right?
No, because there were 3 of us, so we didn't go and see Shape of Water. I'm sorry, Liam, did you miss the bit at the beginning where I said I've seen Game Night?
Yeah, no,
And
but
then
I didn't know
said-
that. You could have seen both.
No, I started the story with, before I did that, this is the reason. What?
Who did you go with?
Sam and Dan.
Nice. And what was Game Night about?
Game Night is about a group of people who have a regular game night, and one of their brother turns back up and tries to do his own game night, and game night gets a whole lot more serious.
Okay.
That's a fair plot summary, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. I liked it a lot. It's funnier than I thought it would be because I thought it was just going to be one of those generic comedies where
Can
you
I-
come out and you're like, I laughed, but
Serious question. Did you see a trailer for it before you watched it?
yeah, I knew what the premise was.
Right.
I think this is the only film in recent memory where seeing the trailer doesn't ruin it.
See, I would
In
disagree
that-
with that.
Yeah, that's
No,
interesting.
here's the thing though. Whatever the trailer shows you, the whole point of the movie is, but is this happening? Right? That's like the premise.
Yeah, I don't think
So-
the plot was spoiled in the trailer.
No, that's what I'm saying is what you can, because everything you see in the trailer, you can be like, well, that looks like someone is actively shooting a gun. But when you see the film, you're like, oh, but is this happening? Do
Yeah, but I just feel
you know
like,
what I mean? Like
the
it's hard
trailer,
to it's hard to go on.
the trailer reveals some of the best jokes in the movie. So when those jokes actually
Yeah, but I don't
happen, they're not
I don't
as
count
good.
that as a spoiler. Like knowing a joke. That,
No, it's
to
not.
me,
No,
is not a
but
spoiler.
okay. In a comedy, a joke works, right? The whole way a joke works is through surprise. You expect something, you get something else. It's surprising.
Well,
That's
it's
why
surprise.
it's
It's surprise and context, which is why
Yeah.
some of the jokes were still funny because in the context of the whole scene. But because you've heard the joke before, you don't
less
find
funny.
it as funny.
Exactly.
I don't. But see, I disagree. People go and see comedians multiple times.
But they often do different material,
No, that's not true at all. A lot of comedians reuse material.
such as
Can I
Sorry,
he-
such as.
yeah.
Let me just break down which comedian I'm talking about. Lots of them. If you go and see comedians, they'll often have new sets built for their main set. But if you go and see a comedian live, you're going to get part of a set you've seen before. That happens.
But I don't go and see comedians more than once.
Well, look,
on the
I
same
will
tour.
go and see. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like I've seen.
No,
Like,
yeah, I'm
several
saying
comedians
I'm
several
saying in a
times.
different tour they'll still reuse material. You'll still get some jokes from before.
Not the comedians that I've seen.
Okay, fair enough.
But what?
I mean, I can
what
only speak
my-
from personal experience.
What my issue is, well, not issue, because I did enjoy game night, but what I found the problem to be with, remembering the jokes from the trailer is that it kind of took my head out of the movie a couple of times, because I was like, oh, I wonder when that next joke from the trailer is going to come up, because it hasn't come up yet.
Yeah.
And that's, entirely my fault as a viewer, but it did kind of distract me a little bit, personally.
No, that's fair enough.
Do you know what I found most surprising about Game Night?
Go on.
What?
Like I went to it because I'm a big Jason Bateman fan, and I also really like Kyle Chandler because I'm a big Friday Night Lights fan.
Yeah.
But I actually think the character that made me laugh the most was Ryan, who was played by Billy Magnuson,
Is that
and
the?
I was not expecting that. The blonde
sort of-
guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he really tickled me.
He did make me laugh,
Yeah, no,
but he was the typical sort of dumb character, wasn't he? That's
Yeah,
kind
but
of
I
what he's
liked
there
it.
for.
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah. Not saying it didn't work, but
I mean, I personally felt like it all worked. It's not a amazing movie. It's not the best comedy film I've ever seen, but
Yeah.
I've seen other stuff that Jason Bateman's done comedy wise that's not great.
Such as?
What's the one where him and what's her face from Ghostbusters and
Identity theft or something.
Yeah.
Or identity thief,
Yeah.
something like that, yeah.
that one?
I haven't
That
seen
film's
that
not
one
very
yet.
good.
Is it not?
didn't Jason
No.
Bateman go through like a phase of just doing like not very good comedies for a little while? I feel
I
like
think
there were a
I
few.
think there was. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
possible.
mean, that's the one I've seen that I definitely was like, we went thinking, oh, Jason Bateman's quite good in comedy films, this will be good, and it wasn't good.
I would recommend Bad Words. I was surprised by how much I enjoyed that.
Yeah, he is also good in other comedy films, Liam. I wasn't saying he's bad at comedy.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, that was one I wasn't expecting much from, and then I was surprised by.
What's that other comedy we've seen him in recently that was funny? When he's in a wheelchair.
Oh, I think that was called The X, was it? Something like that?
Something
yeah,
like
The
that.
X.
It's when he's playing like the douchebag that I find him the funniest.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Is that it on game night?
Possibly. I give Game Night like a 3 out of 5, I think.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah,
3
I'd
out of
agree with
5.
that too. I don't want to like spoil it, but there is something that happens in the last sort of part of the movie that was a nice surprise. But I
Yeah.
won't say any more than that.
Yeah. Also, if you haven't seen it yet, there is a scene after the credits that we all missed.
Oh, Ellie, did you miss
Yeah.
it too?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
I mean, I'm not hugely bummed out because it's not like doing it in a Marvel thing where they actually sort of tie into the
We
universe.
don't know. We didn't see it. It might be doing that.
Well, I feel like they're not setting up
A Marvel
the
movie.
cinematic
There's-
universe of Game Night.
It felt like the end of it, they were setting up a sequel at least.
I think they're leaving the door open to a sequel with that ending.
It felt very much like a setup.
No, I don't think it. I think it was more for
I didn't
comedic
think so.
value than like a definite setup.
Yeah.
Have you seen Game Night? Let us know. Do you think they're setting up a sequel? I don't know.
I don't know.
Kat,
Yes.
what's your film that you're talking about on here?
Well, technically, it's a film that we've all seen before, more than once.
Yeah.
But this time, it's a sing-along version.
Oh, I know what film it is.
Yay! We went to go and see The Greatest Showman sing-along version, and I loved it. And my rating of The Greatest Showman, which was 4.5, is now a solid 5. Because I have seen it
Yep.
4 times now, and I'm going to see it again on Sunday. So,
Mother's Day.
yeah, after this has gone up. Sorry, before
No, this will
has
go
gone
up on
even.
Monday.
I know, I fixed it. Anyway, we went to the sing-along screening in Chichester at Cineworld, and we were, for the most part, the only ones singing.
Yeah.
But I
It was
think,
what? It was a sing-along version that people weren't singing to?
yeah,
Right, I can tell you for a fact that there were several people in there and it was their first screening. Ask
Yeah.
me how I know that.
Did they say, this is my first screening?
No.
Liam, how did you know that?
Right, so we've all seen it. You know, like, in the first act, there's like a very sudden burst of violence. I'm trying to be careful with what I say.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
There was audible gasps from people. Now, I feel like if you've seen it before, you're not going to be gasping at that bit.
no, that was weird.
Yeah.
But there was also, what was weird as well was that Liam didn't notice, but the row in front of us, there was this little girl who was there with her, must have been her nan. And the little girl kept turning around because she could obviously hear us singing. But she was looking at me as if to say, what the fuck are you doing? Please stop. And I was just like, it's a fucking sing-along, you know? I mean, obviously didn't say that. I kind of wish I had. But
You should have. That would have
Yeah.
been hilarious.
But like, it's weird because the song I remember hearing like a few other voices around singing was Never Enough, and I love that song, but I wouldn't have thought that would be the one that most people would like get involved.
Yeah,
Nah,
no.
you think this is me, right?
Or The
Yeah.
Greatest Show, which was actually,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we were the only ones singing during that.
Most of it, we were the only ones
Yeah.
singing, let's be fair.
But I don't care. I still loved it. 5 out of 5.
Yeah,
Is it a little bit like, I'm sure I spoke about it on the show, the time I went to see Jumanji, and everyone who went to see it, which was not people I knew, just random people in the cinema, burst out laughing when we realised we'd come to see the one that had subtitles.
That's weird.
Like, do you think these people just went, they were like, Greatest Showman's on, let's go see it, and then
I think some
when
did.
they got there were like, oh, sing along.
I think
Do you
some
know
did,
what?
but I think most people did know it was a sing-along. But
They
maybe
just weren't singing.
Yeah, in the moment they felt a bit too self-conscious to.
Oh, you know what the
sing along.
British are like, so fucking reserved.
Yeah, I mean, I'll admit, like, we were probably still somewhat reserved with our singing. We weren't exactly, like, bursting
We weren't like
out.
cartwheeling down the aisles.
No, but I mean, I'll...
Did you not do the dances? Did you not do a choreographed dance for other
Sadly
side?
not.
No. But I'm thinking, when I go and see it again on Sunday, it's going to be at like an independent cinema. So I'll be interested to see if that means that
Yeah.
people
Is that
might
one
be more up
also
for it.
sing along?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to like sing-alongs, a factor of the enjoyment is going to be how into it the audience gets.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, because if everyone's singing along, then you're not self-conscious about
exactly.
singing.
It was a shame that more people weren't singing.
But I'm glad
the
it
film
didn't
is
stop
still
us.
so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And the film is
I-
amazing.
I'd love to see it with like an American audience who are just proper into
Oh,
it.
that'd be good.
Also,
That's my review.
Ellie,
go on.
sorry, just Ellie mentioning seeing a subtitle film. Do you remember, Kat, when we went to see that subtitle film and we just was livid and we got up and walked out?
Oh, Fantastic Beasts, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Well, that was
Because
like...
it had subtitles.
It was
Well,
one
no,
of
it was
those, like,
audio
yeah.
described. So the subtitles came up, but it was things like seagulls screeching, and I was like, I can't watch a whole movie like this.
I find that hilarious.
Why?
That moment was funny, but then it was very quickly, we were like, yeah, we're not going to enjoy this if we sit and listen. And to
It
be
was
fair,
really
don't
taking
you
me
just-
out of it.
Yeah.
I think it might just be that I've watched too many subbed animes. So
No, see, I think it'd be fine if it was just the dialogue, but it was every single like
Yeah.
sound effect.
Was being described, so it was a bit like... It was quite funny, really. And I think that was the distraction, was that I would have just been sat there laughing.
Yeah.
fair enough.
So yeah, The Greatest Showman for me, I'm still a solid 4.5 out of 5.
Ellie?
Cool.
Wish you didn't see it again.
Didn't see it again,
Yeah,
but it
but
is still
come on.
very high.
It's a 5. It's a 5 out of 5 film. Let's just get
It
down
probably
to
is
it.
a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you seeing it again, Ellie? Because I know you were speaking about going with someone that hadn't seen it. Or
I
something.
might be, I'm not sure. We had a issue with timings to see the when we were going to go see it, and then it got delayed, so I'm not sure if it's still showing at places.
Oh, it
but
is.
I
It's still going strong, surprisingly so.
Okay, yeah, I probably will go and see it if I get the chance to again, but I have got other things that I want to see before they go out of cinema, so
Yeah, it's fair enough.
we'll see.
Fair enough. If you're between like Lady Bird and Greatest Showman, go for Greatest Showman 100%.
It's not Lady Bird, it's Shape of Water.
Yeah, go see that. That's good.
Yeah.
Alright, so that's all of our film reviews, but listeners, oh, you're in luck. We've got TV reviews this week.
Hooray!
Kat, do you want to go first with The Punisher?
Yeah, I guess so. There's a lot of enthusiasm for TV there.
Well, Ellie was just like fucking dead, and I appreciated your hooray, but I was trying to figure out who was going to go first.
Oh, well, I
So
think...
I was distracted.
I'm just concerned about how many reviews Liam's doing, because I feel like he thinks it's 3 film reviews, which is not the limit we put. So he's
No.
only done 1, so he's okay. I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah.
worried that he's misunderstood the premise.
No,
so-
no. I'm allowed 3 total reviews.
Okay, so, first TV show that I want to talk about is The Punisher. Or Punisher. Or
Yes.
whatever it's called.
It's The Punisher. I
Okay.
checked.
It's because I just wrote Punisher, so I've...
Fair enough. Now, we saw The Punisher in Daredevil Season 2, which if you go back to, I think it was like episode 10, something like that, we reviewed Season 2 of The Punisher, of Daredevil, where The Punisher first appears. For
Thanks,
a culture
Liam.
swap. That's all right.
I don't know whether
Bit of a
you
history
really
lesson.
need to do callbacks every time. Like, is someone
I
really
don't
going to go
think
back
we
to
do.
episode 10?
They might. They
Okay.
should.
Okay. Anyway, Punisher, The Punisher. It's very much like a lot of the other Marvel Netflix series where, like, how many episodes? 13?
Yeah, 13.
It should have been less.
Yeah.
And it would have been a
They
better
could have done it in
story.
10.
Yeah, it would have been a better story. I did enjoy it. There wasn't an episode that I, like, necessarily disliked. There were just some that felt a bit slower than others.
There was one episode that you disliked.
Oh, the one where it was, like, chronologically all over the place. I hate that.
Yeah.
I just hate that as a storytelling device. It's really annoying, where it literally just jumps all over the place.
That's fair.
Other than that, it was mostly okay, and then the last few episodes were really good, I thought.
Yeah, there was fat that could have been trimmed.
Yeah.
But it was, first off, it was way better than Luke Cage and Iron Fist, that goes without saying.
Yep.
Maybe even The Defenders.
Yeah, I think so, and I think it's because John Bernthald's so good.
Yeah. The other thing is, I remember like before watching The Punisher, I thought that Karen Page would have quite a big part in it. I don't know if maybe like the marketing or something made it seem that way, but just kind of manage your expectations. She's literally in, I think, maybe 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah, it would have been nice for her to have been in it more.
Yeah, but
Because
I
like
liked what they did with it. I like the first episode of The Punisher is great. We watched the first episode of Jessica Jones season 2 tonight because obviously International Women's Day. And if you're just comparing first episodes, we both love Jessica Jones, But the Punisher episode 1 was actually better than I think episode
Yeah,
1
it was.
of season 2 of Jessica Jones.
But I also feel like the Punisher, like the first episode, was a lot like origin story, whereas we've already had that with Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
I don't think it was origin story. It was more just where is he now sort of thing.
Well, yeah, but you have all the sort of like flashbacks and stuff.
Yeah, fair enough.
It started to kind of grate by episode 2 because you'd had so many in
Yeah.
episode 1. But yeah, I thought it was a decent series, especially towards the end, and
Super violent, so
yeah,
violent.
surprisingly so.
I mean, it has to be if you're using the Punisher.
I
Yeah,
guess,
but,
but
like-
there are moments where it's not even about like the guns, where it's
Yeah.
basically torture. I don't think that's really spoiling anything.
Nah, it's a bit
No, I
gory.
mean, but I would be surprised because Punisher's like whole deal is he's kind of a baddie. Like he's doing it for the right reason. He is the epitome of doing bad stuff for the right reasons.
Yeah, have you seen it?
No, but I've read him in a lot of the comics
Yeah.
and stuff. He's like the hero that other heroes are like, fuck, we have to ask him to help, and we really don't want to because he's messed up.
Yeah, I get that, but I think it wasn't all the violence wasn't necessarily coming from him, and it was.
No, that's fair.
I don't know. It was just more than I thought it would be, but I don't care. I like violence.
Yep, out of 5.
I think the vast majority of the series was like maybe a 3, but the end of it maybe pushed it up a little bit to like a 3.5.
I overall for the whole season, I'd give it 3.5.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It kind of
Yeah.
just pushed it up towards the end.
Yeah, the last 4 or 5 episodes are pretty solid.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Cool. All right, so now I'm gonna do my second review.
Yeah, just hurry up, mate.
Don't worry about it.
Again, my issue isn't the number; it's the time it takes you to do them.
I saw. This is another Netflix show. It's called Everything Sucks. It was 10 episodes. They're like 22 minutes an episode. It is sort of like Freaks and Geeks but set in the 90s, but also a little bit lighter than Freaks and Geeks.
Nowhere near as good as Freaks and Geeks.
It's not. Freaks and Geeks is amazing. It's one of my favourite shows of all time. And it's not as good. So Kat watched the first episode with me, didn't like it. And I'll admit, I wasn't a big fan of the first episode. But you know me, when I start something, I've got to push on. I watched 8 episodes in one night. I got really...
Oh, that's quite impressive.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. Like normally, when I watch stuff with Kat, I have to like fucking string it out because she only likes to do like one a night or some shit.
My God.
But because I got to do this by myself, blasted through 8 episodes one night, finished it the next night. Oh, it was so good. I got so into it. I got so involved. It got to the point where I literally had to force myself to bed instead of finishing it because it was just so late and I was enjoying myself so much. So good. It's like quite young actors, actresses. So you've got Jahir Diallo Winston, who played Luke. He's really good. You've got Peyton Kennedy, who played Kate Messner. She's phenomenal. She should be in a Richard Linklater movie. She'd fit right in. The basic premise is Luke's just starting like, I don't know, whatever year it is in American high school when you go to like the big school essentially. Is that like a freshman or some shit? I don't know.
Mate,
whatever.
you watch all the American coming-of-age stories. If
I don't
anyone's gonna
know-
it's going to be you.
I don't know the years. I think it's freshman.
That's what I'm saying. If you
Yeah.
don't know...
We
Peyton,
don't know.
Peyton Kennedy, who plays Kate, she's in the year above. She's also the principal's daughter. She's like off limits, but Luke manages to win her affections. But there's a secret that he doesn't know, and oh, it's so good. It's just so good. I can't recommend it enough. Do not judge it by the first episode because I thought the first episode was not very good. Give it like 2 or 3. They're only 20 minutes. Give it an hour of your time. It sucked me in so bad, and it was just so good. I would
Out of
give
5?
it 4 out of 5.
Yay.
That was quick.
Good job. So, other than that, Liam, I'm assuming there's one more review from you.
Yeah. Oh,
Is
I
it
hope
a book review?
it is. I hope you're excited.
Is it one of the High School Musical ones?
Nah.
Then I'm not.
So I read Lauren Graham's it's not really an autobiography. It's like a collection of essays.
Whoa. Holy shit. Hold on a second. I think this is almost too interesting for me. Carry on.
It's called Talking as Fast as I Can, from Gilmore Girls to Gilmore Girls and everything in between. So do you remember like Amanda asked us to watch the first season of Gilmore Girls, which we dutifully did, and then I got really into it, and then you promised her that you'd watch more of it, but then you've never done that.
Yeah, didn't say when I'd do it, just said I would.
Yeah. I think Lauren Graham is great. I read this book. What I will say about this book, there's quite a lot of, not a lot, but there's more talk in it about fashion and stuff like that I didn't really need.
Yeah, I don't
And
feel
also
like
about
you were the target
dieting.
market for that book.
No. And also, the thing is, like, obviously, I'm here for Gilmore Girls, and she does do like 2 chapters on Gilmore Girls. One where she goes back and she rewatches like the best episodes from seasons 1 to 7, and she kind of gives her take on it. And also, she talks about what it was like coming back and doing the like Netflix A Year in the Life.
Yeah,
Really like that stuff, and some of the other stuff. Like, the reason why we started watching Parenthood is because she mentions it in this, and she speaks really fondly about what it was like filming and working with that cast and all that sort of stuff. It's really interesting. I liked it. Just, I didn't love it. And I kind of wish I'd listened to the audiobook instead of reading it, because she does write in a way where it sounds like it's her speaking, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really like the writing style. Just not all of the essays were riveting. So I would give it 3 out of 5. Now, here's the thing. I know I'm only allowed to do 3 things, but I have also read one of the High School Musical books.
Which one have you read?
The first one.
Is it good?
Can I talk about it?
Yeah, fucking hurry up though.
Alright. So, did we mention on the episode
Oh
where
my
it was
God.
my birthday?
Yeah, we fucking did mention that I bought you them.
Alright, so Ellie brought me some High School Musical books.
Oh my god, did we mention this? Yeah. Oh, let me just mention it again.
Fuck
me, Liam.
I read High School Musical, Stories from East High, #1, Battle of the Bands, by
How
N.B.
exciting.
Grace. So, brief plot synopsis of this. East High is putting on its first ever Battle of the Bands. Troy and his basketball buddies are looking forward to living out their rock star fantasies, and Sharpay has formed her very own girl group. But while Troy and Sharpay prepare to step into the spotlight, Gabriella and Ryan are left in the shadows. Gabriella keeps herself busy by tutoring Ryan, but she can't help wondering why Troy wouldn't want to join forces with her again. Didn't the two of them make a great team in the last musical? In the end, Gabriella might have to take the stage without Troy by her side. Here's the thing, right? Sometimes the writer, the author, I guess, has done quite a good job of like capturing the characters and they sound believable, like Chad particularly. But then, like, Troy in this book does not sound like Troy in the movies. It's really weird. And you know
Does he
how
angry dance in it?
there's none of that. There's no original like music in it either. Like
What?
no original songs. So the songs that they perform, like Gabriella performs "These Boots Are Made for Walking," and it's just written like this is the song she's performing. It doesn't actually write out the lyrics or like describes her dance moves or any of that nonsense. It's just like for a High School Musical book that's all about Battle of the Bands, there's a real lack of actual music in it. Kelsey's barely in it, which is fucking bullshit. For some reason, like Zeke and Jason are part of this band, and they have like not significant roles, but they're in it more than I was expecting. 2 new characters who I've never even heard of, called Charlotte and Alicia, are in Sharpay's group, as well as Taylor for some like awkward, oh, we need to shoehorn in someone that people have heard of, so let's do Taylor. It's really bad. Like, I wasn't expecting it to be brilliant, but the writing style is just not great. I'll give it credit. Like, it used duplicitous, which I thought was quite bold for a book probably aimed at a much younger reader level. I thought that was a good word for them to use. But that's like the highest praise I can give this book. 1 out of 5.
Awesome. That's exactly what I wanted.
I'm not looking forward to reading the others.
Can I just point out my favourite thing of that review, Liam?
Yeah.
When you said there is not enough music in this book. Let's move on.
Housekeeping.
Housekeeping.
Our Twitter has been a buzz.
It's been blowing up.
Amanda tweeted us. She said, just listen to first half of the episode. 1. Liam's complete lack of music knowledge is hilarious. Ellie,
Yes.
have you thought about doing album reviews for the podcast?
Have now.
2. I hope Kat gets some late Valentine's Day clothes from Liam since Portsmouth was a bust.
I did.
3.
Hey.
3. Right. Fucking sit on this and spin, Ellie. Loved hearing Liam's top 20. Ellie, I did not regret the request to hear them all. I liked that Liam gave a small explanation for each one.
Liam
Fuck
doesn't
you
know
very
how
much.
to give a small explanation.
No, exactly.
4. You guys did do a special on Spider-Man Homecoming. I like that Amanda knows what we've discussed more than we have, but I also...
Yeah, it's my favourite thing.
I
I really
kinda
liked
feel
your
bad
response,
for
which was
her.
it's impressive that you know more about our show than us.
Yeah. 5. I liked Kong Skull Island. It isn't exactly good, but it's so much fun.
Wrong. Incorrect.
I think Amanda's very correct. And then you, Ellie, started whinging about me playing the victim card or some bullshit. I'm not even going to look at the context of that tweet.
Oh, okay, let me. You said, so much fun. Way more fun than Godzilla, but what do I know? So I said, don't play the victim card, Liam. I didn't say you don't know anything. I said you have a bad taste in movies, which I think is evidenced by the fact that Kong Skull Island was in your top fucking 5.
My favourite thing is my response to that, which is, well, I respect Amanda's obviously intelligent and obviously correct opinion more than yours, and then I think Amanda just didn't know how to respond, so she just went, thank you, question mark.
I like Amanda sort of ends up getting in these situations where she's trying to just be nice and reasonable and be like, oh no, I enjoyed that bit of the podcast. And then what me and you just inevitably do to Amanda is we make her feel really bad because she feels like she's ripping us apart.
Yeah. She'll
say something very reasonable that we turn into an argument, and then she has to be like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah. She did say, I like hearing Ellie's film thoughts too, though. While I agreed with Liam about Kong Godzilla, I wasn't a big fan of The Greatest Showman, as he mentioned, and sorry that episode of mine isn't out yet. Life got me behind. I'm trying to catch up. It's no big deal. Don't worry about it. Lee did a guess. So when we were going to record Black Panther, we put up a picture of you doing the Wakanda pose, and Lee guessed X Factor. That was wrong.
Which you replied so close to.
And then, right, I did a tweet earlier today, basically saying that Kat's coming on. Anyone got any questions for Kat or for Ellie or for me? Jason, friend of the show, he's guested before. He tweeted saying, how do Kat and Ellie manage to tolerate Liam? He seems rather difficult to deal with on a daily basis. Thank you for your response.
Yeah, Kat, you should probably take this one as the main answer because
I have to deal with this shit
with him
every day. Every day. I don't.
And I think everyone's interested in how.
I'd say I drink a lot, but I don't. I just deal with it.
No, I mean, the door's right there, you know. It's not like I've locked you and caged you in.
No, but don't tempt me.
Yeah, how great would that have been if Kat's reaction to the doors right there is Kat went, oh yeah, and just left.
Just on the microphone, you just hear it slamming shut. And I'm like, oh
shit.
This bit's got serious.
I think the real answer to how we tolerate Liam is that
I'm lovable.
Well, no.
If I say so
I
myself.
think we just feel bad for you, you know?
Oh, okay, it's sympathy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you sort of, you know, I feel like at every point in a friendship with Liam, everyone's had that moment where you go, I don't want to be friends with this guy anymore. And then he comes up to you and he's like, I can't wipe my ass like a human being. And you're like, he needs me.
It is. I think it's that vulnerability. He needs us.
Sometimes I wash the shit off my ass in the shower. No, buddy, that's not how you do it.
Sort of like a puppy, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Like a puppy.
Or like an old mongrel.
Yeah.
Was it earlier today that I said to you, Liam, that you were like a toddler but worse?
Yeah, it's when you were doing the washing up and I was stood behind you just singing a song about how much of a scoopy poopy you are, and you thought that if you'd ignore me I'd stop.
Yeah, and it didn't work.
I didn't.
No, yeah.
And then you turned around and was like, you're worse than a toddler, because a toddler, if you ignore them, they stop, but you don't.
Yeah, it's because Liam doesn't crave attention. He just, I don't know, is just broken.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I think the thing is, I do things to amuse me, and it's kind of like
you don't give
everyone
a shit
that's
if it
around
actually
is
amuses
just
anyone else.
Exactly. Yeah.
By the way,
100%.
you've had another tweet from Jason. Another question.
Yeah, I know. I was just about to get to that.
Oh, okay. All right then.
I was just waiting for us to finish answering the first one.
Yeah, Kat, sorry, don't try and come on our show and be professional.
My bad.
That's not how we do things here.
It's not. Right, so Jason tweeted saying, this one is for Liam. Why Zac Efron? And
fair question.
Why not? Do you know what I mean? Like, how do you explain love? Like, Jason, why did you choose your wife? There you go. Put it back. We had an email.
Did we?
Yeah, from Simon Marcus. It's titled About Your Podcast.
Oh.
I'm gonna read this out. Hi! Exclamation mark. I came across your show, Nerd on Nerd, today on iTunes and wanted to reach out. Were you aware that we had this email, Ellie?
No.
Cool. I'm Simon, co-founder of Pippa, a podcast hosting and analytics company based in NYC. I'm really excited to share what my team and I have been building, the simplest, smartest way to share your podcast.
Oh, thank goodness.
We wanted to make it really easy to manage your podcast and understand your audience and help you to share your work on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify and everywhere else. Our podcasters, some huge shows and some just getting started, all love Pippa. They've switched over from SoundCloud, Libsyn, Blueberry, etc. and haven't looked back. I could go on for ages about how great Pippa is, but you should probably just see for yourself. And then
sorry, very quickly. If you're advertising a product to me, don't tell me that the way I figure out how good it is by using it.
Yeah.
Unless it's shit, which I've got a feeling it might be.
Also, the
really
irony
proud
of this is that you've just given them promo, so well done.
Yeah. then they said, we're really proud of what we've built, but it's all because we took the time to listen carefully to podcasters like you. So check it out and let me know what you think.
Did they prove that?
Well, and then they emailed saying, P.S. Thought I should mention one new feature Pippa's podcasters are going crazy for: free AI-powered episode transcripts. Besides getting editable, downloadable transcripts, you also get to make these awesome video snips of the best quotes from your show, formatted perfectly for social media. Pretty hot,
Already
right?
do it.
And then a little fire emoji. So basically, I just wanted your thoughts on that, Ellie.
No, I'm good.
Yeah,
That's a pretty
I
nifty
think
feature to have, though.
it is. But Simon, listen to us before you email us, because I think it would have taken you literally 5 minutes to realise that we're probably not gonna use Pippa.
Liam,
Yeah.
you missed out one of our mentions, mate.
Did I?
Yeah, and I really wanna get into it.
Go for it.
Nicole Esquire tweeted,
Oh, yeah.
listening
yeah.
to @NerdOnNerd with Rhino Romano. I love Nerd On! Exclamation mark, the podcast.
Yeah.
Netflix Mindhunter with Rhino Romano from the Batman Nerd On, the podcast. Let's play it.
Yeah, so they've
Nicole.
got us mistaken.
Yeah, what you've done there, Nicole, is you've tweeted a podcast called Nerd On! Exclamation mark, the
Which
podcast.
I looked
Let's
up.
play it,
I looked
maybe.
up. They started in September 2017.
Yeah, so they've stolen our name completely. We're suing. That's happening. It's
Yeah.
too late. Nerd On! The podcast, I'm sorry, but you've stepped into our turf.
Wait, can
We're
we
the only
actually
podcast
say
that
that?
can have Nerd On.
Is that okay to actually say, or do we now have to actually sue them?
Don't know, mate.
Okay, cool.
Now that I've said it, I think it is legally binding,
Okay, cool.
is the thing. Yeah, you've tweeted the wrong person, and that's interesting to me because I feel like as a clear fan of this Nerd On! The podcast, I feel like you should know that that's not them.
Yeah, and how I don't know how she got confused, because she's not
It
even
is a
following
different name.
us.
She what?
She's not even following us.
Yeah, so she's had to like type this in manually.
Yeah.
Do you think they are using our name for their podcast? Like,
Oh,
our
that's a
Twitter
mistake.
handle?
That would be a huge mistake. I don't know what's gone on there, to be honest. I just think someone's fucked up, mostly Nicole Esquire.
Yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, we cannot use Nerd On Network anymore, Liam, unfortunately, which is such a blow to you and your campaign for Nerd On exclamation mark network.
No, well, no, but we'd already described it was the not another network or some bullshit.
Yeah, but then
like
you
that.
said we were changing that as well because you
you're
didn't
going
like
with
it.
this again, are you?
Well, what
It's
should
got a
we
whole
call
show
it?
on it,
What do you
Kat.
think we should call it, Kat?
Oh, I don't care.
There we go. I don't care network.
That's good.
I like
Is that all the housekeeping?
That is all of housekeeping, yes. Now it's time for culture swap. Swap my culture. Come on, we've got a time limit. Let's go. Kill or Be Killed, Volume 1. Kat, why'd you recommend it?
Bloody hell, mate. So, the reason I recommended Kill or Be Killed is because
mate.
when I was reading single issues, it was probably my favourite one I was reading because The Walking Dead was starting to slip. And our single issues started to get too expensive when I started working for myself. So really, I picked this for Culture Swap just so Liam would buy the volume because I knew he'd get hooked on it. So now I don't have to pay to read it.
I love it. That's the kind of reasoning that I like to hear, Kat.
That is 100% the truth.
I'm a bit jealous though because, Kat, could you just explain there is a very key difference between the single issues and the volume, the
Yeah,
collected
so
volume?
in the single issues, at the back, the writer, Ed Brubaker, he does like a letter at the back of the single issues. But instead of just talking about the comic or having like people write in like The Walking Dead does, he talks about the things that he's been watching and reading. And I find it fascinating. So he'll be talking
that's kinda cool.
about films or TV shows that he's watching, but also stuff that he's working on. And they're all kind of like, because if you like the comic, you're pretty likely to like the stuff he's talking about.
Fair enough. That's cool.
It is cool. But you don't get that with the volumes, unfortunately.
Which is
No,
a
you
shame. I wish they did include that.
Yeah, it would be cool
Well-
if they had like a collection of those like at the back of the comic.
Yeah.
But they don't.
Yeah.
Like how they do with the like alternate covers.
Yeah. So that's basically the reason why I picked it, and because I was obviously curious about what you both think about it. But should I say what I think about it first?
Well, why don't you say what it's about?
Okay. that
Well,
would
very
help.
quickly.
Yeah.
This is
yeah.
for listeners that aren't aware. We spoil the shit out of whatever we talk about in
Oh,
Culture
yeah.
Swap. So if you want to read Kill or Be Killed, which I recommend to anyone that has listened to our reviews of like Nailbiter and stuff and thought that was good, you'd probably enjoy this.
Yeah, that's a fair comment.
So go read it. If not, listen to us spoil it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Cool. So Kill or Be Killed is basically about this guy called Dylan who it starts like he decides to kill himself because his life's pretty shit. And as he jumps off of this building, he lands in like this washing line. And long story short, he ends up getting another chance at life. But there's a cost, and that cost is that some like creepy ass demon comes along and says that he has to kill somebody every single month to stay alive. And that's pretty much sums it up, I think.
Yeah, that is a pretty accurate summary.
Well, yeah, but also... No, I'm just saying, like, to add on to that, while that is an accurate summary, I think, for me at least, the stuff that I found most engaging is there's also this, like, love triangle that's going on.
Yeah, see, I find that part of the story less interesting. Like, I still like it.
Don't worry, Kat. That's a very, very Liam thing to have appreciated in a thing.
Yeah,
is
true.
Not the thing that everyone else enjoyed, but the talking bits and
Bloody
the real
mumblecore.
Emotional stuff.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I appreciated the bit where we actually got characters. Oh, my bad.
No, Liam. Sorry, you did that wrong. What you meant to say is I enjoyed the bit that wasn't the main focus of the story.
I would disagree that is the main focus. I think I think it's a dual focus. There's two focuses.
It's not the main focus, but it's alongside.
Well, I think but even in that like love triangle bit, the love triangle isn't the main part of that.
No, it kind of like.
What do you mean?
It sort of what's the word? It flips back and forth because the love triangle part is not really like all that important when he's going out and having to kill someone, and then it switches back to that. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
They're not overly connected at the moment.
Yeah, one of the the thing that I found interesting. So Liam's is the love triangle. Kat's not said yet because she did the description. But like the bit that I thought was the most interesting about this, especially this volume, I don't know if it will change in later ones. But I like that it plays with the whole: is Dylan just mad?
Yeah, it's never
Like,
really
I love
like
that
entirely clear.
Because he explains the logical reasons for why what he's seeing isn't true. Where he like falls off the roof and he's like, "Oh my god, I just saw a demon," and then the next panel is him waking up and being like, yeah, I tried to convince myself that actually maybe I just broke my wrist falling off the roof and didn't feel it because of adrenaline.
Yeah.
And then he sort of does it in a way where he's like, but that obviously can't be it. And you're like, no, I think that might be it.
Well, I feel like at first...
But then there's the demon.
Yeah, well...
Yeah, there is the demon, Liam. And then there's the final panel of the book, which is Dylan looking at his dad's artwork and seeing the demon man in the drawings.
Liam didn't even pick up on that. He had to read it again. He had to look at the last page again.
It's not even subtle. It's like the most obvious thing.
No,
it literally ends with a comic book cover with the demon on it.
Yeah, so, all right, let me just explain how the very last page, right? So
yeah.
It's him and Kira are talking because they've started sleeping together and stuff. And she's getting quite concerned for him. And she's seen this, like, comic cover. And then she's speaking to him. And she says, so listen, we need to talk. So my eyes saw that. Then looked down, and this comic book cover is these like horned ladies with their tits out. So I went, we need to talk. I was like, oh bloody hell, I wonder what that's about. Tits. Finished.
Yeah, no.
I think that goes back to what
I didn't see
our
the demon.
Main interests are in the comic. If you're interested in the relationship, so you're like, oh shit, what's she want to talk about? Whereas me and Ellie are like, oh, what's all this stuff to do with the demon? Oh, we've seen the demon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's happening with all this murdering? And Liam's like, I just really hope him and Kira end up together.
Yeah, because she's quite like, I don't want to say damaged, but she's got things she's working through as well.
Oh,
no, yeah, that's what I mean. Like one of the like themes of this comic is not necessarily mental illnesses, because as far as we are presented with, there's not really anything except the depression. Like Kira's not mentally ill; she's just a bit messed up, and not even necessarily messed up, but like she thinks she's damaged.
Yeah.
He's got his own shit going on.
Well,
where
she had
he
an
might be
interesting
mental.
upbringing where she, like, at quite a young age, was witness to an orgy with her mum in the middle.
But then that didn't. But the whole point of that scene was that it didn't mess her up. It just gave her a different view on sexuality, which is that it shouldn't. It's not necessarily a like. She's not necessarily. It feels like they were trying to say. So she's kind of polyamorous.
Yeah. She's not.
Yeah.
So to her, the cheating might not be bad, even though the cheating is definitely bad.
It's not the cheating; it's the lying about the cheating.
Well, no, that's what cheating is. Cheating is sleeping with someone else when you're not meant to. So you're lying, right? Cheating is always bad, Liam. There's no good cheating. People in polyamorous relationships aren't cheating on each other.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
Mason, who's Kira's partner, obviously not aware that she's sleeping with someone else, so it's not a polyamorous
Yes.
relationship.
Mason definitely wouldn't be happy.
No.
Yeah. He'd be sad.
Yeah.
Or angry.
But yeah, so like
Don't stop
I feel like
listing
the
emotions, for fuck's sake.
he's doing lists again, Kat.
Oh, this episode's going to be titled some bullshit like Liam Does Lists.
Yeah.
Oh no, mate, I've already got the name and it's fucking great.
What is it?
There's not enough music in this book. I can't believe you think it'd be anything else.
That's a great name.
I know. As soon as he said it, I was like,
That's it. I've
episode's
written it
name.
down. Oh, Liam.
Anyway, get on with Kill or Be Killed. Fuck, we've got like time limits and shit.
All right, fine. But yeah, like honestly, I just think this book is really interesting. I love anything that's doing the whole maybe this isn't real, because it like nothing supernatural happens in this book except the demon parts, and they're all bits that could be just him imagining it.
Yeah, and that's
Ellie.
what I like about it the most as well, I think, because it's not like overly supernatural, but you have that element to it where you're not entirely sure. And
Yeah, 'cause when the demon popped up, I genuinely was like, this is unusual for Kat to recommend us a
I'm
paranormal
not
thing.
that
And then
sort
when
of-
I was like, oh, it's not paranormal
But
particularly.
I do really think the demon looks really fucking cool.
Yeah.
The artwork in the book is really good. Because isn't it the same? Liam, you know this. The guy who did the artwork works with Ed Brubaker on his other books, right?
Yeah, so I was just about to ask, Ellie, so you've got Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips who have worked together on a load of stuff. Have you read any of the other stuff they've done?
I don't know about Ed Brubaker. I just looked through Sean Phillips' stuff, and I know he did the main art for Marvel Zombies, and Marvel Zombies is one of my favourite Marvel things.
Really? I wasn't a big fan of it.
I love Marvel Zombies. I think it's great.
Fair enough. Yeah, so Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips worked together on something called Criminal, which is really good. I'd recommend that. And Fatale, which I haven't read, and The Fade Out, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend to you, but to our listeners, if you're thinking of, let's say you're a film fan and you want to get into comics, The Fade Out is like a film noir in comic form. It's really good. It's a great like jumping in point if you're new to comics but love films.
But anyway, back to Kill or Be Killed.
Yep.
I also really liked, it feels a bit like a sort of reverse mystery type thing. Like, I've read comics before that are kind of detective comics that are about finding out who the bad guy is to, like, I don't know, arrest them or whatever. Whereas this is like Dylan hunting out and trying to decide what makes a person a bad person. And
Yeah,
like,
that's
whether that's
interesting.
justifiable that, oh, well, if this guy did this. Because the first kill is, like, pretty obvious that you're like, oh, yeah, that guy pretty much deserves to die.
He was a paedophile.
He was a pedo.
But, so, just before we move off from the paedophile thing, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a really interesting point, in that when Dylan kills him, Dylan doesn't know that. He thinks he knows that, but
Yeah.
even he says,
Yeah.
I might be making that up. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm right. So the premise to me of someone who has to find bad people, is it justifiable? It's never justifiable to kill someone in my book anyway.
No.
But for the sake of this comic book, it's an interesting question in, does the fact that he happened to be right, and it wasn't even the paedophile thing, it was that the guy was like part of a paedophile ring.
And
that
his
got taken
killing
down.
it helped reveal that ring.
But he didn't do it for that reason or knowing that.
No.
So
And you also have
the fact that he then justifies it is fascinating to me.
You also have the Russian mob that he tries to go after, and the fact that
Yeah.
he then gets attacked by one of the girls, and it's
And kills her.
yeah,
Or, well, shoots her in the stomach.
Yeah. I don't
Well,
know
think
if she
that's the
actually does,
interesting. That's the interesting thing about it, is because so he reveals this paedophile ring by killing this guy. So that sets him on his path of like, right, if I pick the right people, I can do a lot of good with this.
yeah.
Which
like
is
this-
kind
this
of
weird-
like Death Note in a way.
I wouldn't know because I've not read it. But...
I thought Elliot read
Kind
it.
of.
Yeah, sort of.
I
right?
mean, I don't know. Lights in Death Note, he's much less like, I'm doing this to reveal the bigger issue. He's just like, if I can find the name for someone who's bad, I'll kill them.
I've just realised there's a big patch of hair on my chin that I didn't shave yesterday, and that's like a
Fascinating.
whole day. That's
Thanks, Lim.
like 36 hours.
Oh my goodness,
Oh, dear.
what a life you live. I wish you'd known that for catching up with. That would have been so fascinating. Anyway, back to this really cool comic book that we're talking about.
Yeah, I like how dark it is overall. To be honest,
Yeah, it's super fucked up
Thematically,
and dark.
not like colours.
or both really. Like it is, like you were saying about the whole film noir thing with the fade out.
Yeah.
Like there
Oh.
are, it is quite like
There's a bit of artwork, and like the fact that it's a comic. I'm explaining myself really bad. There's a bit that I really liked that you could only ever do in a comic, but it's just a really nice technique. So it's in the first volume. It's quite early on, and it's a panel where you've got Mason and Kira sat on a sofa with Dylan kind of next to them but separate, and then Dylan is like in his own separate panel just to emphasise that separation.
Yeah.
And I really liked that. I thought that was really
I
nice.
think there's a lot of touches like that in it, and I also like that there are like spreads of it that are completely different to the rest of it. And you have these sort of ones where where you've got like the white panel down the side and you've got the text.
Yeah.
I liked all that stuff.
Yeah, those are the ones I was thinking of.
I was less of a fan of those.
Oh, it's so miserable.
You would be. It's,
No.
So I read it all on Kindle.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm not going to buy the volume. I'll just get it on Kindle. That's going to be easier. And Kindle does that thing where it does animation between the panels. So you can either read the whole page or use the like zoomed in version.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. The iPad does it.
And usually I prefer reading the full spread. But this book super works with that zoomed in thing. Because, like, for example...
Wait, you just cut out for me. I didn't hear anything you said.
Yeah, you cut out for me too.
Oh, it's alright. It'll still be recorded. But
I heard after this book.
After this book?
I heard up to this book.
Oh, well, I'll just say it again because I have no idea what that bit was.
Yeah.
I read it all on Kindle. I really liked the... I've lost my train of thought.
You liked the animated bit.
Yeah.
I liked the animated bit because it works really well for this graphic novel. Because like that bit you were saying with the half a page being white with the text and the other half being the picture.
Yeah.
Like the way that animates between them it really emphasizes that. Like because you're going from a panel of just white, so your whole phone is just white with the words in it. Then you're jumping to the image.
That could be
it
so
really
hit
helped
and miss,
emphasize the narration bits.
But how does that work, right? So there's a page, right, where it's just one panel, but then like 6 paragraphs. So do you get 6 lots of white text and then the panel, or is it all that white text is just put in one page for you, sort of thing?
So how's the paragraph done? What?
So you've got one panel, and then you've got 3 paragraphs, and like in the page, 3 paragraphs along the top, then a big space, then another 3, then a big space, then a final one.
Well, it depends on I can't remember that exact example, but it depends on the person that's done the animations.
Yeah.
Because someone sits down and does these, figures out where things go.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So on stuff where like the text is the focus at the beginning, it will start on the text, and then wherever that image is the most relevant. So either I imagine for that one, it probably did it at the end or the beginning. So you would have had a massive zoom onto the picture, got the picture, then done the text, or maybe done the text, then gone to the picture. Like it works really well on pages where the text is embedded in the image, but there's multiple sections because you get a full page spread that then zooms into the text.
Right.
Like,
I
honestly,
guess...
I get why people wouldn't like it, and I think there's an immediate reaction to be like, I don't like this because it's not the way it was intended to be. But
yeah,
it is, and I think a lot of work goes into the person who figures out how it's going to work, and it looks really nice.
Because I don't think I would like that, because a part of the skill of like a good comic is how it directs your eye from sort of panel to panel and how the text fits in. So having like an app that is doing that for you, I wouldn't like. I'd feel like it's sort of taken me out of what the comic was trying to do itself, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay. I personally think that's a shit argument.
I mean, I get it,
whatever.
but I've done both, and I don't think it really... Because I read, I think it was The Killing Joke on my iPad in that way. I think it was that one.
Yeah.
And I thought it worked quite well. The only reason I read it on the iPad, because you can only buy it in hardcover, and I didn't want that. And
that's fair.
that animation works really well for some comics, I think.
Yeah, I honestly think, Liam, if you were... I know you've already bought the volume for this, so you aren't going to do it. But, like, I think it's worth trying it on a comic that you know it works for.
Yeah.
Like, don't gamble and be like, maybe it'll work on this one, because I get it. There probably are ones where that effect is shit, and for those, I don't read it in that view.
Yeah.
I read it in the standard
But
view.
there's no way of knowing beforehand, is
You
there?
literally start, and you go, if this doesn't work in the first page,
You just
I'm going to
switch
not do
it.
it.
Yeah, it's
Right.
not like you have
okay,
to
got
read
it,
it.
got it. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't buy it in that, like, setting. You get the
yeah.
whole comic, and then it's just like an optional... Do you want to
Well,
view it
I
in
was
the Zoom
thinking
mode?
more like, do you get digital or paperback? So once you've made that commitment, you're kind of locked in. But yeah, it doesn't have to be panel by panel.
Yeah,
is what you're saying.
That's I only buy comics digitally now,
Okay.
and you can choose. Like I read all of
Wicked and Divine.
I read one of them in IRL, and then the other ones I read on my phone.
Yeah, I have to say this was a lot better than the Wicked and the Divine.
It's a great comic. I mean, I've not read The Wicked and the Divine, but I don't think I would like it.
They're good for different reasons. I love both of them.
This had boobs and bush in it.
Yeah, Liam likes this for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, I liked the sort of like horror / crimey elements to it, and that it was quite dark.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool look. It's taking something that is like the standard story for a hero. Like, apart from the, it adds the element of he's got to kill them to live.
Yeah.
But it's taking the idea of a person being a vigilante and killing baddies, or taking out baddies, whatever. But it looks at it in a different way than just the generic, he's the hero, so you've got to believe him. And it's more like, no, this guy could be wrong, and we want you to think he probably could be wrong. Like, don't just think this guy's the goodie.
Yeah, I think if you like Dexter, whether that's the books or the TV show, then you'd probably like this. Like, they're different, but they're obviously dealing with like a similar theme of supposed kind of good guy killing bad guys.
Yeah.
And obviously I seem to like that for some reason.
Yeah, you do. I really, out of all of the Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips stuff that I've read, this is probably my favourite at the moment. Like, I've already bought Volume 2. I've been holding off of reading it.
Basically, my plan worked.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, you've done exactly what you wanted, Kat.
I've got exactly what I wanted.
I will say, and I don't know how this works on the digital version, but at least in the paperback, the text that they use for when the demon's speaking isn't necessarily the most legible.
No, I think
It's a weird font.
It's legible enough, but I know what you mean.
Yeah,
you kind of have to concentrate a little bit more.
Yeah.
I kind of like it, though.
It's in the first volume, Ellie, if you're looking for it.
No, I found a panel with him.
Cool.
It's readable, but I get what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, but, I'm really like picking at straws or whatever that saying is.
Clutching at straws.
There we go.
Yeah.
Can I point out another thing that I super liked about this?
No.
Okay.
You've had enough.
Can I explain?
Oh,
I
definitely
really
not.
like...
No, Ellie is definitely allowed to explain over whatever you're going to explain.
So I know you were, when you said at the beginning, Kat, that you meant dark in the, or Liam said in the whatever. Whatever. This comic is kind of dark in a actual colour sense.
Who did the colours?
What?
Who did the colours?
I've got no fucking idea, mate. We're not doing this again.
No.
I really like that it is dark, but they use that whole... One of the things I love when comic books do is the red colours are very vivid.
Yeah.
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 Deliberately, and they do it in not always in a oh, there's blood, so it's red, but in the scene where he gets the shit kicked out of him by hobos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's all these red bursts of light happening around him.
And he's obviously got the red ski mask thing as well, which I think is
the red ski mask is the main thing that... Because none of the other red... when you look at his red car and her red hair, they're a very faded orangey red.
Mm.
Yeah.
But the red bandana is the most red thing in this comic book.
Yeah.
It's a bit Schindler's List, isn't it?
Yeah, sure. I'm sure that's exactly what they were going for, Liam.
I have a genuine question though. So on the front cover, you've got Ed Brubaker, who's obviously the writer, Sean Phillips, who's the artist. What's Elizabeth Breitweiser? What was her contribution?
Colorist.
Is that for sure? Because I'm looking in the actual comic and I don't see that anywhere.
It says it on the Wikipedia article.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Which one is it?
Colorist. It says it on Wikipedia.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, I think she did a good job.
Well done.
Yeah, no, the colours are really good in this. That's literally the point I just made.
Yeah. Can I explain why I don't like the white side bits with the lots of text?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
I don't like it when, and this is just a personal thing, when graphic novels have huge chunks of text, because I get to a point where I'm like, oh, do you just want to write a story here? When there's more text than art, I'm like, just write a book.
That's so bizarre because...
That's also not correct. Yeah. There's no pages where there's more text than art.
Well, no. There's pages where there's one big
Liam, I'm
panel.
literally flipping through it now. I've found three pages where it's not quite 2/3, but it's always more than half the page is the image on the white spaces. He's using a really cool, not 50-50, because 50-50
Yeah, but it's one image. You look at it, and it might be a big image. The page size, it might take up more. No, they're usually 3 images. What?
There's a lot of different spreads in this comic. We could be here all night, dissecting all of them.
That's not...
Okay, well, alright, so the majority, Liam, are not the ones you're talking about, so maybe focus on the majority, not the single example you found.
I don't know, I'm looking at quite a few where I'm not sure. But anyway, I'm just saying, that's why I don't particularly like the white text thing, but that's just a personal...
That's weird, because the reason I like it is because it does mix up that, conventional comic, panel with text on thing. I think it's good to have that variety.
Perfect example is right in the middle of the book when you've got young Kira sat on the stairs. That's one half. You've got a load of text next to that. Then the other half is the orgy with the mum in, but then a load of text down the other side. And I just look at that and I'm like, that's a lot more text than art there, sort of thing.
Because
that's
the
fair
art
enough.
is
to me, I'm just
No, I get it, but the art It tends to be balanced with quite specific art, if that makes sense. Like there's something quite significant going on in the art to balance out what's being talked about in the text.
Sometimes. I mean, I've just flicked to a page where, again, there's a lot of text down the side, and it's literally just him walking home with Kira, and she's just carrying a bag of groceries or something.
Okay, well, maybe it's not always like that, but so what?
Those are the 3 pages in the book that prove your point. Very good, Liam.
No, I just happened to flick to those.
I mean, they're also not what you were saying, because I take it that your argument for what constitutes a lot of art on a page is not the same as mine. Because in all those pages you said, the art takes up more than half the page, which is what I was saying.
Yeah, but I mean, when I say art,
so it's a big detailed image.
Yeah, no, but when I say art, I mean like those images. You look at them and you pretty much immediately get what's going on in them. It's not like an image that you can really pore over.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, they're like some of the most detailed art pieces in this thing. So
there's not a lot going on. He's literally just walking. He's following her home.
There's not always a lot going on in art, Liam. That's like, what are you talking about? Some of these panels are just him sitting on a train.
Yeah, but they're tiny little panels.
Yeah, but that's... I don't know. I personally don't think your argument makes sense.
That's fine.
I don't understand it.
You're allowed your opinion.
Cool. My opinion is those bits work really well.
I agree.
Yeah. And for me, not so well.
We got that.
Good.
Anything else about Kill or Be Killed that we want to argue about?
I'm definitely reading more to find out what happens next.
Good.
Yeah, same. I really hope it...
No, go on.
Sorry, go on, Kat.
No.
I was going to say, I really hope that it... I hope it stays with the theme that I really like, of the whole, we're not quite sure if it's real or not.
Yeah, if the next volume they're like, no, there's definitely a demon, you might not like it so much.
Yeah, or if they're like, he's definitely crazy, I feel like I'd still be like, oh, I'm not 100% sure that I'm into it anymore.
So I've read ahead because I was reading the single issues. I can't remember what number I got to, but it was definitely like after the first and possibly even after the second volume. And I can't remember, which is probably a good thing because I might accidentally spoil it. But it is still good. That's what I remember.
Cool. Sweet.
Would you, does this make you want to read anything else by Rebecca?
Who was that aimed at?
Either of you.
I'm less attracted to names, I guess, is maybe not the right way of saying it, but a way of saying it. Like, I'm not, just because someone who I know wrote something or did something, that's less of a factor to me. Obviously, it is a factor in some things, like Stephen King and Neil Gaiman.
Yeah. Oh, fuck you! Don't start on Neil Gaiman.
But for stuff like this, I'm less likely to read it and be like, that guy was really cool. I'm going to go read more of his stuff.
All right. What about you, Kat?
A similar view on it, but I think it would just massively depend on the story for me.
Yeah, I think
it would make me want to research Ed Brubaker more to find out what else he has done. But it would have to be the right sort of story and probably not necessarily similar to Kill or Be Killed, but maybe have some, some similarity.
I would recommend both of you to try out Criminal, because it's a series of volumes, but each volume focuses on a different story, but there's like secondary characters that appear in other people's stories. I think you have, but I don't remember if you like it or not.
I think I thought it was okay, but maybe that was just comparative to Kill or Be Killed. I was like, man.
Yeah, I would recommend giving like 2 or 3 volumes a go, because like I said, each story is its own sort of thing. Yeah. Just there's tertiary characters that crop up.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
As for Kill or Be Killed, are we ready to do our ratings?
I am.
Go on then.
Well, you have to say who first.
Kat.
Fucking hell. I give it a 4 out of 5 for the volume ones.
Ellie.
I also give it a 4 out of 5.
Liam, also 4 out of 5.
Way!
Hey, all in agreement.
3 of a kind.
In agreement. That is 3 of a kind, giving it 4 out of 5. Next time. On Nerd.
Yes, Liam.
So, because I'm going to Canada, we've got to do the next one quite quickly.
Yes.
So, still write in, but if we don't get to your thing on the next one, we'll get to it on like the one after. Don't worry. Just, life happens. We're doing the Cloverfield Paradox next time.
Whoa!
It came out when the Super Bowl finished, and we haven't watched it yet, but we've watched Cloverfield, and we liked that. And we've watched 10 Cloverfield Lane, and we thought that was okay, but the ending was a bit of a shame. And now it's the Cloverfield Paradox.
And I think we're going to hate it, but we'll find out.
On the next episode of Nerd on Nerd, I've been Liam Underwood.
What? Whoa, what?
What?
Why, you're doing the sign-off?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess I'll take over, main hosting duties. Kat, if people want to get in contact with you or see more of the stuff that you do, where can they do
They
that?
can find me online at More About Cat on Twitter and Instagram and my blog.
Yep, go read Kat's blog.
Yeah, do it.
Sometimes I'm in it, and that's when it's the best.
Well,
Agree to disagree.
Oh, Ellie, what's your favourite blog post of Kat's then?
The one that you were in.
There we go.
I just don't want this to be another argument.
quit while you're ahead.
That's where you can find Kat. If you want to get in contact with us, you can email us at nerdonnerdpod@gmail.com.
Yeah, come on, I thought we were on a time limit. Come on.
Yeah, you can tweet us at nerdonnerd. You can Facebook us at nerdonnerdpod.
What about YouTube?
Like facebook.com/. You can go to our YouTube. Liam's uploading all the old episodes
What about
again. So
iTunes?
wow, how exciting is that?
5
Go
stars
listen
on
to all our old
iTunes,
stuff.
review
How
us.
exciting. Rate us on
Lovely.
iTunes.
Yeah,
5 stars,
5 stars,
please.
thank
4 stars,
you.
no. 3 stars, no. 2 stars, no. 1 star, no.
Who's listening now?
Everyone! I've been Ellie Kempster.
I've been Liam Underwood.
He's apparently not talking.
I've been Kat Fyson.
Thank you for joining us, Kat. It's International Women's Day. Let's go all enjoy being women.
Okay.
Yay! Kat, any final thoughts?
No.
Cool. Bye!
Bye. Kat, say bye.
Bye.